What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, make sure to click over here and hit subscribe. That would really help me out. But today's video, as you guys can see in the title, we are going to be going over my 2022-2023 arrow setup. So if you guys have been following along with the channel, you'll know that last year I shot the Easton Axis 5mm match grade, and I'm actually shooting that same shaft this year. So here's a little label on it. I have kicked around the idea of shooting the 4mm Easton Axis, but I just haven't gotten any of them yet. The main reason is, from what I've heard, the titanium components are still kind of hard to come by, and with shipping that I've looked at, the lead time has been like 3 or 4 weeks, so I'm a little bit behind the 8-ball if I did want to try them this year. But anyways, I just got a half dozen more of these, and I just built them up. So there is a couple things that I did different for this season. First and foremost being this little collar. So as you guys can see, I have a collar right there behind that broadhead. This is a Muzzy Trocar head in 100 grains, what I'm shooting. And that's one thing that's new for this season. I also hot melted these hit inserts in. That way I have a little bit less problems when I'm indexing those blades to the vanes. I don't know how well you guys can see that. So now, before I just had to try on a bunch of broadheads and see what fit and what, you know, lined up relatively well. Now what I can do is I can literally just heat up that field point a little bit, turn the insert just a touch, and then index the broadheads that way. So that has been very helpful in getting these things tuned up. So what this collar is, it is just an Easton Game Getter Platinum shaft cut to 11/16 inches, and it seems to work pretty well. It just slides over the end of the shaft. Now you do have to hot melt these things in too, so they're not sliding all over when you're shooting. I haven't had any issues with that glue coming undone and them coming up the shaft, so I think it would be fine. Those weigh about like 6-ish grains, somewhere in that ballpark. I didn't weigh them individually. But the reason that I did that is with these hit inserts, if you guys are familiar with the hit inserts, get it to focus, you'll know that literally it's just a carbon that is holding the end of that arrow together. And I didn't really like that, so I was like, and I kicked around doing this last year, I just didn't pull the trigger on it. So what this little collar does, slide it over here so you guys can see, this is a broken arrow, but what that collar does, it adds a little bit more structural integrity to the end of that arrow. So not only do you have the walls of carbon that's holding everything together, you got a jacket of aluminum around the edge to help holding it together. Because realistically, if this arrow is going to fail anywhere, it is going to fail right here at the end. So basically what this does, this is just a little bit of extra insurance that nothing crazy does happen. So say you were to, you know, hit the knuckle on that shoulder blade, the chances of this thing holding together are much higher than what it would be if you just had it built with the stock components with the carbon holding it together rather than carbon with the aluminum jacket. Now, I'm not saying I've had any issues with that. This is just something that I've been wanting to play around with and try it out and see how it goes. And so we're gonna roll with it for this season. But I'm running 2-inch blazers on the back. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of these blazers. I've been using them for a while. And then I just got your standard yellow wraps. And then on the end of the arrow there, I have the Nocturnal Lighted Nock. I've been shooting these the last 2 years, and I really like them pretty well. Now, one thing I will say about Lighted Nocks, if any of you guys are thinking about shooting them, here's the size difference. I'll have to hold these together so I get it to focus. But here's the size difference between these two nocks. So it is very important that you practice with these. You practice with these to see where they hit in correlation to just your stock nocks. The reason I say that is because these stock nocks weigh about 9 grains, whereas these lighted nocks, they weigh about 24. So these are almost double, you know, more than double the weight of your standard nocks. So you definitely need to shoot with these because they are going to fly different. Not only is it going to add arrow weight, but it's also going to change the dynamic spine of the arrow just because you're adding more weight to the rear end. But nonetheless, I haven't had a ton of issues with shooting a lighted nock. The arrows still fly great out to, you know, 125 yards. I'm pretty sure that's what my sight tape bottoms out at. But I haven't had any issues with them. And I like it. I'm very happy with this arrow setup. the fletchings, the vanes are at about like a 2, maybe 3 degree offset, somewhere in that ballpark. Nothing crazy, just enough to correct the broadhead flight with a 3 fletch. And I haven't had any issues with broadhead flight. Just do a little broadhead tuning, shoot it through paper, do broadhead tuning, and then it's normally pretty easy getting these things to fly well. But the total arrow weight on this arrow with a lighted nock, you know, the collar, broadhead, everything, just like I'm ready to hunt. I'm taking it out into the woods. The finished weight is 513 grains, which it's a reasonably heavy arrow. I would say it's not heavy as some that you'll see, you know, those dudes who are shooting, you know, 700-800 grain arrows. That's a little bit overkill. Realistically, this is only so heavy just because I shoot a 29.5 inch draw, and with a 260 spine, because that's what this is, because I shoot 80 pounds, as you guys know, I have to have a stiffer spine so the arrow doesn't fold in half. But nonetheless, so they are 11.5 grains per inch, so they are a good bit heavier, but you're gonna have that with a stiffer spine arrow just because the walls of the carbon have to be thicker to achieve that stiffness. But nonetheless, I'm very happy with this arrow. I shot a couple deer with it last year, and hopefully we can run this shaft through a couple more deer this fall and get you guys some good hunts on camera. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are getting everything finalized before season. It's right around the corner for us. I know I have a couple buddies who they've already started their season, and I actually have a buddy out in Montana who called me this morning, and he had an encounter with a mama grizzly and 2 cubs, but thankfully he's okay. Very scary stuff. That is not a situation anyone wants to be in, but he's okay nonetheless. And yeah, I would say we're ready to rock and roll for season. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are practicing and getting ready, but I will see you guys in the next one.